popular. You're gonna be popular.
From Broadway to the big screen, Wicked has cast a spell over audiences worldwide. But how did this magical adaptation manage to redefine musical storytelling in film? Let's uncover the secrets behind its groundbreaking success. First, let's talk about perspective. Traditional musicals typically maintain a theatrical distance. Even on film, they keep you in the audience. But Wicked, it pulls you right into Oz. The camera doesn't just observe, it dances with the characters, soars through the air during Defying Gravity, and plunges into the emotional depths of Elphaba and Glinda's complicated friendship. Consider the moment when Elphaba first discovers her powers. In the stage version, this is already a powerful scene. But on film, Chu transforms it into an intimate experience. The camera spirals with her as magic courses through her veins, making us feel every spark of that transformation. It's not just showing us a witch discovering her powers, it's letting us experience what it feels like to become extraordinary. This transformation scene actually holds a fascinating secret that most viewers missed. The visual effects team developed what they called emotional particle systems, a groundbreaking technique where every magical effect is programmed to respond to the actress's vocal performance. When Elphaba's voice trembles with uncertainty, the magic shimmers erratically. When she belts with confidence, it explodes with purpose. It's a perfect marriage of technology and performance that's never been achieved before in musical cinema. But the innovations don't stop at visual effects. Wicked completely reimagines how musical numbers can drive a story forward. Take Popular. On stage, it's a charming comedic number. In the film, it becomes a masterclass in character development. The sequence uses what Chu calls emotional geography. Every movement in the scene is choreographed not just for dance, but to reveal character psychology. Speaking of choreography, let's dive into how Wicked reinvented the language of dance in film musicals. Traditional movie musicals often struggle with the transition between realistic movement and dance. They either embrace the artificiality completely or try to naturalize it awkwardly. Wicked found a third way, what choreographer James Alsop calls emotional momentum. The principle is simple but revolutionary. Every dance sequence begins with a character's natural gesture, a hand movement, a step, a turn of the head. This motion then evolves organically into full choreography, making the transition from reality to dance feel inevitable rather than jarring.
Dancing through life, swaying and sweeping, and always keeping cool.
Watch the dancing through life sequence again. Notice how Fiero's casual shoulder roll gradually infects the entire student body until the whole courtyard is moving in sophisticated patterns. That's emotional momentum at work. But perhaps the most groundbreaking aspect of Wicked's adaptation is its approach to world building. The film doesn't just create sets, it creates an entire cinematic language for Oz. Every location has its own visual grammar. The Emerald City scenes use symmetric framing and vertical lines, reflecting the rigidity of its society. Shiz University is shot with Dutch angles and deep shadows, emphasizing the institutional corruption lurking beneath its prestigious facade. Munchkinland scenes use wide lenses and saturated colors, making the supposedly idyllic setting feel slightly oppressive. This visual language extends to the costume design, where traditional stage elements are reimagined for the intimacy of film. Take Elphaba's iconic black dress. On stage, it's a bold silhouette designed to read from the back row. For the film, costume designer Paul Tazewell created what he calls a living texture, a fabric that subtly shifts and changes under different lighting conditions, reflecting Elphaba's complex emotional journey. The film's sound design deserves special attention. Traditional musicals typically maintain a clear separation between diegetic sound, noise from within the story world, and non-diegetic music, the orchestral score. Wicked blurs this line completely. Listen to the market scene in the Emerald City. What starts as street vendors' calls gradually morphs into the underlying rhythm of One Short Day. The whole world of Oz doesn't just accommodate music, it generates it. This innovative approach to sound reaches its peak during No Good Deed. The number begins traditionally enough, but as Elphaba's magic spirals out of control, the orchestra itself seems to fragment. individual instruments break away from the main score, creating a chaotic counterpoint that mirrors her psychological state. It's not just background music anymore. It's a direct expression of her fracturing reality. Let's talk about the film's groundbreaking use of time and memory. Unlike the stage version, which follows a largely linear narrative, the film employs what editor Myron Kirstein calls emotional chronology. Scenes aren't arranged by when they happened, but by their emotional impact. This reaches its peak in the film's treatment of "for good." Instead of a straightforward duet, the song becomes a complex tapestry of moments from throughout Elphaba and Glinda's relationship. As they sing about how they've changed each other, we see these changes happening across multiple timelines simultaneously. Past, present, and even possible futures weave together in a sequence that completely reimagines how music can interact with visual storytelling. The film also revolutionizes how musicals handle exposition. Traditional adaptations often struggle with the background information that stage shows can convey through program notes or pre-show atmosphere. Wicked solves this through what the production team calls visual shorthand, a sophisticated system of recurring motifs and symbols that build meaning throughout the film. Watch for the color green, for instance. It's not just Elphaba's skin color or the Emerald City's defining feature. The film uses different shades and contexts of green to track the evolution of how Oz views magic. Bright, artificial greens represent institutional power. Deep, natural greens suggest ancient magic. Sickly, pale greens warn of corruption. It's a whole vocabulary of meaning built through color alone. This attention to detail extends to the film's treatment of magic itself. Unlike many fantasy films that treat magic as simple visual effects, Wicked develops what the effects team calls magical ecology, a consistent system for how magic works in Oz. Every spell has specific visual signatures. Every magical effect follows established rules. This isn't just about making the fantasy elements believable. It's about using magic as a metaphor for power, responsibility, and social change. The revolutionary aspects of Wicked's adaptation even extend to its marketing campaign. The film team developed what they called nested narratives. Each trailer and promotional piece contained hidden clues about the film's themes and innovations. Eagle-eyed fans noticed that the trailers themselves told a complete story when watched in a specific order, preparing audiences for the film's sophisticated approach to narrative. But perhaps the most significant innovation is something that's easy to miss entirely: the film's use of silence. In a genre known for wall-to-wall music, Wicked isn't afraid to let moments breathe. Watch the scene right after Defying Gravity. Most musicals would rush to the next number or dialogue scene. Instead, we get 30 seconds of near silence, broken only by the sound of wind. It's in these quiet moments that the emotional impact of the music hits hardest. This strategic use of silence is part of what the sound team calls musical negative space. Just as visual artists use negative space to define shapes, Wicked uses musical silence to give its songs more impact. It's a technique that's already influencing how other filmmakers approach musical storytelling. The film also breaks new ground in how it handles its ensemble scenes. Traditional musicals often treat background characters as just that, background. Wicked gives every member of its ensemble a distinct character arc, visible if you know where to look. During group numbers, pay attention to the edges of the frame. You'll see dozens of mini-stories playing out, each one carefully choreographed to enrich the main narrative. This emphasis on background detail reaches its peak during the film's treatment of March of the Witch Hunters. What could have been a simple, angry mob scene becomes a complex study in how mass movements gather momentum. Every face in the crowd has a reason for being there, a personal story that led them to this moment. It's this attention to detail that makes Oz feel like a real place with real social dynamics. Looking ahead, it's clear that Wicked's innovations will influence musical filmmaking for years to come. Already, other productions are adopting its techniques: the emotional particle systems, the musical negative space, the nested narratives. But perhaps its greatest legacy will be proving that musical adaptations don't have to choose between honoring their source material and embracing cinematic possibilities. This brings us to a fascinating question. What happens next? Now that Wicked has expanded the boundaries of what's possible in musical filmmaking, where does the genre go from here? Some industry insiders suggest we're entering a new golden age of movie musicals, with Wicked leading the way. What's most exciting is that these innovations aren't just technical achievements, they're new tools for storytelling. Wicked hasn't just raised the bar for musical adaptations, it's fundamentally changed how we think about the relationship between music, story, and cinema. The real question isn't just how Wicked changed musical storytelling, it's how these changes will shape the future of film itself. The next time you watch a musical on screen, pay attention. Chances are, you'll see Wicked's influence in every frame. Because once you've truly defied gravity, there's no coming back down to earth. And there you have it, everything groundbreaking about Wicked's revolutionary approach to musical filmmaking. Be sure to subscribe for more deep dives into the biggest movie musicals. Let us know in the comments which Wicked innovation surprised you the most, and make sure to watch our next video shown on screen. Thanks for watching.